Gregorian calendar was introduced in 1582 by Pope Gregory XIII in order to replace the Julian calendar by better spacing out the leap years. As a result, each calendar year is 365.2425 days long in order to match up with the tropical year, which is 365.2422 days long, as determined by the orbit of the sun. It is now the de facto calendar used across most of the world for organising civil events, geopolitical relations, and, most importantly, my holidays, because I like going on holidays. However, there are many other calendars that are still in active use throughout the world today. There's the traditional Chinese calendar, which is based off lunar cycles. There's the Paukon calendar that is drawn from the ancient rice-growing cycles of barley. And there's the Ethiopian calendar, which is based off alternate calculations around the dates of the birth of Jesus, and as such is 7 years behind the Gregorian calendar. So, if we all used the Ethiopian calendar, we would still be in 2014, and I honestly wouldn't be mad about it. All of this is to say, time is arbitrary, nothing really matters, and none of you should judge me for making a video about the films I'm looking forward to in 2022 as we stare into the eyes of March. For me, 2021 felt a lot like we were playing catch-up. A lot of the push-back movies were getting released, there were some extra delays, so this for me feels like, you know, alright, seatbelts on, we're moving forward now, you should have gone to the bathroom before we got in the car. And so, onward we go. I'm sat in front of a list of upcoming release dates for movies, and I'm going to pick out my favy best ones. This particular list is brought to you by Cineworld, which is convenient because so is this video. You might be asking yourself, Dan, with such excellent taste in movies and so many good choices on offer, how are you going to see them all? And the answer is, why, it's the Cineworld Unlimited card, of course, don't you know? Not only do Cineworld Unlimited members get the titular unlimited cinema, there are a plethora of other perks, including advanced screenings of major new movies and discounts on all the snacks and drinks you can shake a stick at. Plus, you now get a taste card with your membership, which gives you 2 for 1 or 50% off at thousands of restaurants and so much more. And that is not all. You can get 50% off your first month of Unlimited right now. Follow the link in the description and use the code BATMAN50. Why that code, you ask? Well, that brings me nicely to the list. Television professional. 4th of March, The Batman. I have spoken about this at length on What's On the Cineworld YouTube channel. I'm very excited. I really like Batman Forever. And a main part of that is I really enjoy Jim Carrey's Riddler, so I'm really keen to see what they do with that character in this kind of intensely gritty adult setting. Does it have a rating yet? Okay, interesting. The BBFC have given The Batman a 15, and The Dark Knight, which is pretty intensely violent in some places, thinking about that pencil, was a 12A. So they're really taking this down a particular route. And yeah, Joker was 15, so it's going to be along that same line. Plus, I really like Colin Farrell. I really do. I think he's so underrated, so I'm very in for seeing what this is going to be. Also, Robert Pattinson in a sort of major blockbuster franchise after all these years. He doesn't just do movies for the sake of it anymore. He did that already. So, yeah, I'm very keen. I'm very keen. Then let's get your head to... Okay, here's one. 22nd of April, The Lost City. I need to tell you about this movie. I saw a trailer for this at a screening of Jackass Forever, and I'm gonna be honest, I was a little bit drunk, so I thought I imagined it. I've never known a trailer that was more, like, geared to me in my life. It's about a romance novelist who ends up going on a treasure hunt to a remote island. Daniel Radcliffe is there, playing an eccentric billionaire treasure hunter, and then, at one point, this guy shows up with long hair, and I was like, that's not Brad Pitt. But it was Brad Pitt. He's throwing his hair about in the wind, and I'm just obsessed with it. I can't wait. I just have no idea what it's gonna be. I hadn't heard of it until I saw this trailer, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since, primarily because of Brad Pitt's hair. Also out on the 22nd of April is The Northman, and this is a big one for me. I love me some gritty history stuff, anything medieval, anything Viking. Sometimes I say medieval and people get cross at me, but the medieval period ranged from the 5th to the 15th century. Kind of means anything. You know exactly what I mean when I say it. Also, I love Robert Eggers, I love The Lighthouse, I like it when Nicole Kidman makes interesting choices. It's a revenge piece set in 10th century Iceland. I am here for it. Then we're into May, 6th of May, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Oh my god. Again, I talk about this at length on my weekly What's On at Cineworld show on the Cineworld YouTube channel with me and my friend Luke Owen. I really truly believed I was done with Marvel stuff at the end of Endgame, and then they just keep pulling me right back in. I've enjoyed everything Marvel has done since Endgame, but the thing that I loved the most was WandaVision, right? And this is a direct follow-on from WandaVision. I loved what they did with Wanda's character in that, and I really like the look of the way the trailer is portraying her, almost like she's like an anti-hero villain with a cause kind of thing. She has that delivery of that line.
It doesn't seem fair.
Oh, suits you. Plus, the idea of this whole multiverse thing opening things up, I kind of don't want it to be a cameo fest. You run the risk of it being like that. However, as they showed with Spider-Man No Way Home, I think Marvel know what they're doing in such a way that any character introduction can't just be fan service. It has to be fan service that also serves the story. We got that a little bit in WandaVision. It didn't quite pay off the way I think a lot of people wanted it to, but I didn't think at the time, and I still don't think, that that was the whole story. Let's see. Okay, 27th of May, Top Gun Maverick. I haven't seen the original Top Gun. I'm sorry to my good friend Tom Cruise, but especially latter-day Tom Cruise with the Mission Impossible movies really seems so obsessed with pushing the boundaries of practical cinema and taking audiences into the movie and onto this big Hollywood ride in a world full of VFX stuff. I'm kind of curious how he's going to bring back something that, even though I've not seen, is very much part of my cinematic language because it is so iconic. And the other thing is, if we are trying to encourage, as people who love not just the art of cinema, but also the process of going to the cinema, we're trying to encourage people to come to the cinema. We have to provide people with an experience that is awe-inspiring and astounding in its own right that cannot be recreated at home. And I don't think even with the best TV and the best sound system, you can't come anywhere close to replicating the feeling of being in the cinema. And it's movies like Top Gun Maverick that give you that kind of, you know, epic, big feeling, blow them away with these incredible visuals and this amazing sound, and then, you know, tell them a good story. So I have high hopes for it. I would like it to do well. A little bit further down, Lightyear, on the 17th of June 2022. I'm gonna be honest, I was also a little bit like, really? Really? I just don't know how I feel about, like, you know, properties based on other properties based on other properties. It's that old cliche of like, oh, there's no original ideas in Hollywood. I think that's fine as long as you do it well. And judging off the trailer, this is a really interesting idea. It's a Buzz Lightyear movie. It's like an origin story for Buzz Lightyear. And there are two schools of thought. It's either the real life story of the astronaut Buzz Lightyear who inspired the toy Buzz Lightyear, which, you know, suggests that there's intergalactic space travel in the Toy Story universe. I guess that's why there are aliens everywhere. And let me tell you, if that's true, I hope those tiny little aliens show up somewhere. Or there's another school of thought, which is that it's a TV show within the Toy Story universe that brought the toy into existence. I don't like that one as much. That doesn't feel as fun. But whichever one it is, the trailer is super interesting. It's got a lot of that kind of Toy Story, you know, comedy and humor, but some of the visuals are just incredible. And when you think about Sid and his dog in the first movie, we've come a long, long way, baby. I just want to see who is involved in the script frame process. Oh, okay, it's written by Pete Docter. I have every faith. Pete Docter wrote the original Toy Story and Inside Out, and he really knows, like, you know, the process of gestating an idea, really thinking about it, trying to make it as good as possible. Yeah, that alone has made me think this is going to be a really good movie. And then on the 24th of June, we have Elvis. I haven't seen the trailer for this yet, so I'm going to watch it now. Well, that looks camp. Tom Hanks is really going for something there, isn't he? Biopics are really, really hard, especially for the lead actor, because you're trying to walk this line between, like, getting the accuracy of their mannerisms, but not letting it go into parody. I think there have been some that haven't quite walked that line for me. Ironically, Walk the Line is a good example of it being done well. And this Elvis is Elvis through the years, so it's going to be really interesting to see how they maintain the character while allowing it to go through journeys, while trying not to let it go into the realms of the parody. So yeah, I'm into the idea of it, and it's Baz Luhrmann, so it's gonna look great. And he knows what he's doing with using music in film. Yeah, I'm into it, and if it goes well, that is a big awards contender. You mark my words. It's gotta get hair and makeup at least, because that little hair strand, I spent half my life trying to get a strand as good as that. Okay, we're officially halfway through the year. We're into July, 6th of July, Thor, Love and Thunder. Give me Chris Hemsworth arms. Big boy with a big hammer. Lovely Natalie Portman playing Jane. Back at it again for another run. Thor 2, I'm sorry, underrated. I will die on that hill. Thor is my most fave Marvel character. I'm here for it. I haven't, by choice, seen any of the stills from the set. I don't want to know. I just want to go and have a lovely time. Now we're getting into the latter half of the year, which means we've got some big name stuff, and a lot of the smaller movies that are at the festivals will be bought and slotted in. So keep your eyes peeled for me, you know, ranting away on Twitter about what's coming out towards the end of the year. But 22nd of July, no. It is no surprise to me that Jordan Peele knows exactly what he's doing in the horror genre. You have to really understand it to be able to make jokes about it, and that then naturally leads you back into doing it. And what I love about what he brings to the horror genre is a certain level of intelligence and creativity. It's all very well and good having a slasher movie or something really gory or something that's going to make you feel like jump scare out of your skin, but that kind of insidious, really like mental, thoughtful horror is the stuff that messes you up and makes for iconic movies, and that's why I can't watch his movies unless it is daytime outside. 7th of October, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2. The first one was exquisite. Obviously from an animation perspective, which you could tell because all of my animated friends absolutely lost it. But also again from a narrative and creative perspective, and we've seen like, what, 86 Spider-Man movies since the turn of the 21st century? So for them to take that property and do something utterly unseen, totally fresh, totally new, totally exciting. That was some really remarkable stuff. Obviously, a sequel to that is always going to raise the question, okay, well, how can you do that but better? How can you maintain that freshness when it is a follow-up? But it feels entirely separate from the big budget, MCU stuff. I'm into it. Let's have a good time. Oh, and then lastly, we're going to close out the year with Avatar 2 in December. Plot twist, I haven't seen the original Avatar either. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm a bit of a contrarian. When people tell you that you should watch something and people like rate something and it's quite good and everyone really likes it, it just makes me want to not go anywhere near it. And the amount of affection and attention and box office that Avatar got made me sit there in 2009 like this. Apparently I insist on denying myself a good time, so let's manifest that the OG Avatar can be brought back on the big screen ahead of the release of Avatar 2. They'll almost certainly do it because then we get that fun camp Avatar versus Endgame, who's the most successful movie in history thing all over again. Way fun. And aside from all the money it made, the first Avatar really pushed a lot of the boundaries of what CGI and, VFX could do, because that's James Cameron's most best thing. And so I don't think he'd go back into it without, at least being able to push some form of boundaries. So let's see how that's gonna look. And that takes us to the end of our Gregorian calendar year. It's gonna be a good year. It's already been a good year. Like, people say this a lot in podcasts especially. Do you think it's been a good year for cinema? And I have to be honest, last year I was like, I think it's been fine. But looking at this year, I don't know, it's got a lot of potential. There's a lot of stuff I haven't even got to talking about yet. Jurassic World Dominion, Minions The Rise of Gru, Don't Worry Darling, The Flash and all of its timey-wimey nonsense, Black Panther 2. There's a lot of good stuff on the slate this year. I'm really keen. What are you most excited for this year at the movies? Why don't you pop it down in the comments, and while you're there, don't forget to check out the description and sign up to Cineworld's unlimited membership. And also, genuinely, please do tune in to our weekly show, What's On at Cineworld. It comes out every Friday on the Cineworld YouTube channel. And I am immensely proud of it. We just have a natter about films for about 20 minutes. I tell lots of jokes, I gush over Jennifer Lopez. It's a good time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time I see a film. Do you remember that? Does anyone remember that? I hope you do. I really do.